In many ways, Belfast City Council, I don't think it's been caught flat-footed, but it has had to react to the demands and the complaints or campaigns of especially retailers who always feel they always feel the brunt of the rates harder. And I do believe that there's a need to shift the paradigm a little bit and get the council more actively engaged. What we have committed to do, what Sinn Féin's committed to do in the city, is to listen to business, to engage with business and come up with an agenda in April 2011, before the council election in particular, although a lot of this, of course, in our joined up government is relevant to other layers of government, including the Assembly and Executive, but to engage in a discussion, to come up with an agenda, to have that out before the election and to make pledges that we can stick to. And so, the second slide, it seems to me that one of the problems we make in this city, and all of us have attended many discussions and conferences and debates on the way forward for the city, but often we end up with 60 or 65 or 70 resolutions of things we want to do. Certainly the last time I attended the Belfast State City Conference, at the end there were 6 or 7 huge lists of things that have to be done. And my argument, in fact, is that if we could do a few things, focus on a few issues that affect a particular small business, and Alistair Hamilton isn't here from Invest NI, is responsibility for all businesses, but in particular focusing on foreign direct investment, focusing on some of the indigenous businesses which are bigger. My feeling is that the council could find a comfortable space for itself and focusing on small business, not only retailers but on small business. And then the questions for the council are around issues of efficiency, around issues of value. The council spent £190 million last year. It made significant efficiency savings within its own budget, has over the last 3 years, and it has great difficulty in raising funds other than the rate, and that again means that at a time of economic crisis, the ratepayers, the business ratepayers, are taking, I think, more than their fair share of the burden. There's big questions there, legislative questions about how you get to a situation where you can get more money into the kitty, but in my view it has to be a two-way street. Not only does the council need to be more efficient, it needs to make sure that all its money is spent in a value for money way. But
local government, because we live in the political world here as well, and local government hasn't exactly done their part of on authority in terms of how it does its business, in terms of inclusion and all that. But we have very set proposals about how local government will function in the time ahead, and once we get that settled, we'll be putting extra planning part in the local government, and also be putting more local economic initiative powers at local government disposal. So those, I think, are things for the future, but there is a need, I think, to get the balance between having a spokesperson or a leader or a driver for Belfast as an entity, as a regional driver as well, and just the broader interests of the city as itself, because there isn't effectively much currently.
Which obviously generates jobs, and jobs at the heart of this, because you get greater social prosperity through the generation of jobs, and the generation of jobs, as I say, comes from economic activity. But economic activity, it's like I said earlier, in terms of a small number of deliverables. You cannot look across the whole breadth of economic activity and say, we'll have a go at everything. There are things that would be inherent in Belfast that we could focus on and should focus on, that would generate economic activity and would generate jobs. So a small number of well-focused activities, in terms of, if you look at things like cultural tourism, which is one of the, if you look at tourism in general, cultural tourism is the great growth area in tourism, and inherent in our city is fantastic history, culture, etc. And if we focused on aspects of that, for example, and generated businesses centred around that, because it is an inherent strength, and then created jobs from those businesses, and that's inclusive across the whole of the city, because there are aspects in every part of the city that could be included in that. So it's actually taking your inherent strengths and leveraging those in order to create economic activity, which will lead to more jobs and therefore create a better social infrastructure. It's that kind of thing that I'm talking about, instead of, again, having this list of aspirations of things we could, should, or might do in terms of generating jobs.